Yeah.
Tonight's topic is monster erotica.
From the deepest depths of the dark web, dark of the night.
I don't think that there's anything that bothers me more than piano music. I don't like, and here's why I don't like piano music. It's too much of a hot medium. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it makes you feel too many feelings. I'm a big believer in what Plato called the perfect medium. You know what I'm saying?
That's very interesting, Alex. Folks, thank you for being here with Dark of the Night. Alex is sort of talking about some things. He said, "Can I talk to you about some stuff?" And I said, "I'd love that."
Yeah, what we're trying something tonight to open the show, and it's called just say sort of a short paragraph.
Right.
And then we begin the show. So thanks for watching Dark of the Night. I'm Alex Myers.
I'm Eric Yearwood. Folks, we're really excited that you're here tonight to join us to sort of speak about the unspeakable.
Monster erotica. Monster erotica is basically porno with cryptids.
And it's in the news.
It has been in the news. Real talk, Eric.
Yeah.
The LA Times, USA Today, the Washington Post, the Huffington Post.
All the posts.
Other posts have all been talking about Bigfoot and the fucking he could do but shouldn't. It's as depicted in fan fiction.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else out there has seen this or heard about this, but there was an article in all these newspapers that Alex was just talking about a congressman who was caught sort of being into Bigfoot erotica. And mention to us out there, if you're on the chat right now, tell us if you've seen this or heard about this.
What's your take on it, Eric?
Well, Alex, it's no surprise, isn't it? I mean, we spent all of our time hunting down these paranormal creatures. It's no wonder that and everybody else has been burying their head in the sand and trying to ignore it. It's no wonder that now it's kind of sort of coming up through their subconscious and it's making them super horny.
The risk that you take when you get involved with the paranormal as a paranormal activist, right?
Right.
Is that you will want to have, I mean, what happens when you spend a lot of time reading about something?
Those pictures appear in your mind.
Right, and you want to have sex with the pictures.
Yeah.
Right. And so what this episode is about tonight is it's about what the problem is and how to combat it. So let's jump into some headlines and let's see the problem at hand. We're happy you can be here with us tonight. We're definitely going to need your help in sorting through this hot mess. And it is hot, and it is a mess.
No.
We just got a computer. We just found out what a computer was today.
Alex,
Should I take some time and
I want to hear for a second, kind of a little bit of a deeper insight about what you think about
let's do
erotica.
This. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump on a website, and you can all jump on this website. Search adult fan fiction. The fiction part is a misnomer, because this is, people don't want this to be fiction. I hope to God it is fiction. Let's see here. Here's an entire website depicting Gimli, Harry Potter, Snape. Let's look at Hogwarts, a mystery. The Big, Bad, and the Wolf. It's all fucking. It's tons of fucking. Mudbloods at Hogwarts. That's fucking. Filthy, filthy smut.
It's almost as though someone's there, sort of doing something while they're looking at it.
Well, so here what I'm going to jump is if you want to jump on another website, jump on fanfiction.net. I want you all to do that. Search erotic. Okay? Now some of this is just anime, and you're welcome to write sexual stories about anime all the day long. That's what anime is there for. It's not there for anything. Let's look here. A Dwarf's Fantasy, Gimli's Erotic Dreams. I'm going to read a little bit of this to sort of, so we can get our hands dirty.
And by the way, we've got all our technical problems solved.
Great. Now that we're here, though, we're here with Bigfoot Erotica headline. I want to sort of give people a sense of what this problem is.
Right.
So this is A Dwarf's Fantasy, Chapter 1, and the only chapter. Okay,
So we're reading we're reading the erotica now.
Yeah, I'm going to read some. I'm going to read some erotica.
Yeah, but I'd love for you to let me set the mood here. Go ahead.
Suddenly, Gimli felt a soft touch on his shoulder. It was Galadriel. He closed his eyes quickly, afraid of being just a dream. She took his hand and gently dragged him into the glade, where the rest of her clothes were. What now? That's a sort of a poetic way of saying what?
She's naked.
She's naked. She was only covered in a transparent veil, barely enough to cover her perfect body.
She's an elf, so naturally she has a perfect
We're
body.
not saying factually this isn't how this would really go.
But it is all consistent with the Lord of the Rings canon to this point.
Perhaps this did happen in Lord of the Rings, sort of off screen. Let's skip a little further.
There's not much sexuality in Lord of the Rings itself, so, you know, something had to have happened somewhere.
Right. No, there was sex in Lord of the Rings. It was just... Look, let me just... I'm trying to illustrate the problem
please.
here. Galadriel leaned her cheek in his palm. Then he lowered his caress to her shoulders.
Right.
I'm sort of skipping forward.
Some of this is too dirty to speak on the air.
It sort of putters out and turns into a joke at the end. But let's... Galadriel, she hits him? Okay, not a great example. The point is, this is a huge problem, Eric. This is... The supernatural is an attractive field for many reasons. It's mysterious, right? It has the scent of truth.
Right.
It has the scent of importance. It deals with immortality, perhaps things beyond the reach of science. But it's also super hot, and it makes me want to sort of take my jacket off.
advise you not to do that.
I'm not going to.
But by the way, Matt 976 is commenting about Concerned Caller. He says, Concerned Caller is auditing your tech skills tonight, Eric. You need to be at the top of your game. I suppose that's so. Concerned Caller was very sort of critical and in a way that was constructive about our technical capabilities last time. We've got everything on point tonight, don't you worry. But to your point, you're right. The paranormal is hot by nature. And when we go on ghost hunts, when we go on Bigfoot searches, we prepare ourselves.
Yeah.
Do we not?
Right. Because
we're mortal men made of flesh and blood. We're packing.
We're not. We do well for ourselves. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we're not skimpy Sallies.
Was there sort of a further point to the story?
Yeah, well, right. We prepare mentally and physically to prohibit any negative creature, power, or influence from taking advantage and hijacking our sexuality to use against us.
That's right.
I want to show off a little device that I use, and you all see it on the table every week, and it's this. Well, this is actually a better shot here. This is a device that can be sort of worn on. See, it's got two straps here, and then one strap here. This strap goes below the crotch, and nothing's getting in there. And these two holes right here are for the sort of ventilation. And so I wear this, and Alex, he's tried it a couple times. You don't seem to find it as sort of comfortable as I do.
Well, only because it was the same one you wear.
Well, yeah, we'll have to get two, but that prohibits me when we're in the heat of battle, so to speak. From sometimes you just want to touch yourself down there, and one thing leads to another, and then you're in a big pickle. And so
we are in a battle, right? And all the Nightcrawlers understand this. This isn't being focused on ghosts, goblins, vampires, aliens at all, right? We're not just interested for trivia's sake. We're not interested just to bring it up at a conversation. We know that there's a moment coming where we're going to have to get out our rifles, air rifles, Nerf guns, shovels, sticks and bats. We're going to have to be like the Minutemen in 1776 against all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Just an army of paranormal soldiers. And when you get to the front lines,
mm-hmm.
you're jerking off, you're going to be killed.
Yeah. That's absolutely true. There is no way that if you have an erection that you're going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with Dracula. It's not going to happen. Let me tell you.
Look,
he's going to use every trick in the book to say, oh, come over here.
Why don't we dig into some headlines and sort of show people the scope of the problem?
Yeah.
I do have to say tonight, I feel discomfort in the air. Like, this is a hard one for us. You know what I mean?
And you don't mean hard one in the, the kind of funny way, right?
No. Although that would have been fun.
That
would have
been kind of a cool.
But you know what? Let's say I did.
Yeah.
And let's sort of enjoy that as a joke.
Yeah, and it was good.
Yeah, let's let that be a fun sort of relief moment, because this is a terrible night for all of us.
Yeah.
Every moment of this night, I had a horrible day.
Yeah.
And it's because I was reading hundreds of articles about this. So Bigfoot erotica thrown into the limelight after Virginia Democrat calls GOP opponent
a devotee.
a devotee.
And if you are into Bigfoot erotica, you're devoted to it. It's not, you don't stick your toe into Bigfoot erotica.
Right. Well, and I think there's a moment in Harry Potter, right, where Gary Oldman, Harry Potter's uncle Gary Oldman, says to him, the world isn't split up into good people and Death Eaters, right? We're a mixture of light and dark. And what that means is, at any moment, what this is exposed, perhaps this guy is a good guy, but he let the darkness take over.
Yeah.
We're all sleeper cells waiting to write and then masturbate to Bigfoot erotica.
How true that is. And
let's look at another example.
sure, yeah, and concerned caller, there's a lot of chat going on. Let's see, Weenus Grabber 134 is clearly deep into this. He wants 3D glasses to look at some of this stuff. I suggest you against that. We've been talking about how negative this stuff is. Let's see, Not the Bees TV. It does make monster erotica more erotic. Concerned callers talking about he's liking the Gary Oldman reference.
He's a great actor, but he also, I'm going to say I'm making this up. I'm going to say he improvised that line to warn us about Sasquatch. Does that make sense?
It does.
And Matt, Bigfoot erotica is an oxymoron because most Sasquatch are incels. That may be true. Incels, of course, being a kind of a misogynistic terrorist. Does that make sense?
I don't know.
Have you heard about incels?
I've heard of them.
Yeah, it's people who are so men who are so frustrated that they can't have sex that they sort of turn into these maniacs.
I have heard of that.
That would make Sasquatch is a bad, and pardon my French, he's a bad fucking dude.
He's a bad mofo.
And that would sort of explain it, I guess, but there's no justification for the things that he does.
We've got our next headline here. This is actually a book.
I'm going to clear out this.
Sure. Medusa. Mated by Medusa. Historical monster erotica. Can you believe that? The idea that someone would even write a book about this. I guess, there's two types of versions of this book, Alex. There's a cautionary tale about the actual factual historical event, which, it's well documented, that Medusa was an actual monster.
Right.
And she was hot. She
was a red hot gorgon with snakes for hair.
But her breasts were normal and big. And so what?
Yeah, so
what do you do in that situation?
You run. You have to run.
Because you can't look at her face.
And of course, let's move to the next headline. Of course, there's what you don't want to do. Actually, let's use this as an example of what you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. And I think, what Matt said is incels are involuntary celibates. That's so it's a what do you call that? It's a combination of the two words, like a adjunctory.
Yeah.
And you don't want the violent sexual beast that desires, when you see a ghost,
you want to pump it.
You want to pump it. But you can't let that repression turn you into a guy who joins one of the more misogynistic branches on 4chan.
No, and that's why you got to eat. You got to go get a Whopper. Get a piece of pizza.
Yeah, pick a bad habit and shove yourself into it, right?
Yeah. Let's keep moving through these headlines. Next one is Frankenstein's.
Portmanteau. That's the word we were looking for there before. Sorry, continue. Canteric.
Frankenstein's bitch, an erotic monster tale. Can you believe that?
And this is an example of the link, right, between the violence and the anger. Frankenstein's bitch.
Yeah.
Disrespectful language. Right? Disrespectful. There's good cursing and there's disrespectful cursing.
Yeah. You don't need to call Frankenstein's whatever a bitch.
Yeah. Switch here. Let's
you wanna
switch
go to
here. I just want to say, if you lower yourself, right? If you you want to imagine Frankenstein and a woman together, okay? Fine. It's not fine. You want to do that, what comes next? The degradation of human beings as objects, because nothing means anything.
Once you go down the trail of treating Frankenstein like he's just a hot piece of ass, well, you're at the lowest level, because he is a dismembered body that's reanimated. What a dark time, what a black time. And we've got our own representatives, congressional representatives, looking at this stuff, and for all we know, just wiggling, smacking. People on the chat are saying, Weenus Grabber says, I'd let Frankenstein grab my weenus any time. Now,
well, that means that there's people slipping in to the chat who are not on board with our point of view on this topic.
Yeah, wake up, people. Wake up.
Part of me got so angry just now about the fact that someone's in our chat being pro-sexuality towards monsters that I almost wanted to wrestle you to the ground and just sort of shake you.
No, I wouldn't. I don't think that would be good. I don't think that would be good for the show. That's all
I'm saying is that I'm angry about this issue. It's a dangerous issue. It makes me mad. I'm pissed tonight, Eric.
We've got a caller calling in, so let's go ahead and take a call. Hello, you're online with Dark of the Night. Who's calling?
Hello. I'm glad I finally got through. I feel like I've been calling for hours, but I know that's not possible.
I mean, it is possible.
Anyway.
But, yep. What's your name?
My name is Jimmy.
Well,
Jimmy, what's your question or story about monster? It has to be about monster erotica, Jimmy.
Yes. Sometimes when I'm asleep, I find that, and I don't know if I'm asleep or if I'm awake, and I'm sure you've been in a state like that before, I find myself not being able to move and thinking I see things coming out of my closet. And I'm pretty sure they take advantage of me, but again, I can't be sure, and I wonder if they're not using some sort of mind control effect on me to alter what I'm seeing versus, whether my mind is just making it up or if this is actually happening. So I wanted to call in and just ask if there's some way that you could tell me if it's really happening or not.
So, Jimmy, just to be clear, I can hear the terror in your voice. I can hear the discomfort. You're saying that some sort of entity comes out of your closet?
Yes. And to make matters worse, I'm not sure if it's really happening or not, but sometimes I feel pinches down on my leg. I feel as though they're not only taking advantage of me sexually, but they're also taking some of my blood for experiments.
Part of me wants to answer, but one of our chat members just made a wonderful point about this phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jimmy, this episode is about monster erotica, not paranormal rape dreams.
Yeah. I guess there's a fine line.
Right.
So, you're wondering if we should actually
simply and Jimmy, work with me on this. I hope you hang on with me.
Yes.
I'm wondering if we should hang up on this guy.
Right. I'm on the fence because there's part of me that wants to say to him, if this sounds like a bad situation, and I want to use some of what we've learned from the experts we talked to over the many years about possession, about poltergeists, to console him and try and help him to solve this paranormal problem. Then the other side of me just kind of, like you said, just kind of wants to hang up on him.
Okay, I think that's a good balance. Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're going to help him, and then we're going to reprimand him sternly at the end of the call.
I think that's a fair compromise.
Let's begin by helping him.
Great.
So, Jimmy, does that sound fair, Jimmy?
Yeah, yes, that does sound fine. I just want to point out, though, that it's erotica to me, and perhaps not to others, but sexual abuse. I guess it isn't erotica, but to some people it might be. But I don't like anything about what's happening to me.
Well, I think
personally.
And now here's Jimmy, and I hope you can sort of see my point of view. You've really pissed me off now, because because certainly I don't think that most people would. You've angered any decent human being just now with your softballing whether sexual abuse fits under the category of erotica. It doesn't, Jimmy.
Well, to the point, I think here's the problem, Jimmy, is the longer we meditate on a solve for your problem, the bigger that the reprimand is going to be about you sort of not about this issue of are you actually phoning in for the topic or not.
You're going to get a really big reprimand at the end of this call,
so we're kind of like we're just like kind of the bill's getting bigger. So let's solve the problem first. So step one, candles. Jimmy, do you have any candles at the house?
Yes, I do.
Do you know anybody? Do you know any old people? Is there any old people in your neighborhood? People who've been around 70, 80 years old.
There are certainly old people in the neighborhood, and I am sort of one of the. I wouldn't say I'm a senior citizen, but I certainly would say I'm 62 years old.
Well, that's not old enough. You need to get someone you need a blessing from an older person on these candles.
Okay.
Yeah, because one of the things that we think is certainly true is the older they get, the more you automatically become a priest if you're over the age of 75.
So if you get one of these old priests to bless your candle, and you light that, and then you go to sleep, and just put the candle under a windowsill. Do you have any drapery? Then light.
I have plenty of.
Yeah, light that candle and put it under the drapes, and then you should be okay.
Thank you for your help, and I do appreciate taking my phone call.
We're not done yet.
Stay on the line now.
No.
To be reprimanded.
Yeah, you have to stay on the phone. And you could listen to it through the regular broadcast, but we're going to have to ask you to stay on the phone. Jimmy,
Buckle up.
Yeah, you fucked up our show tonight in a couple different ways. And before I continue, I want you to think about that. You've ruined our show. And honestly, you've ruined part of my week. You're a big piece of shit who owns a phone. And if you call in again, I'm going to climb into the phone like Freddy Krueger, and I'm going to climb out the other end, and I'm just going to turn into a big knife, and I'm just going to start stabbing.
I understand.
I hung up on him because he said he understood, but that's
not possible.
It was a terrible threat. No one should understand what I just said.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, again, we are talking about Monster Erotica. A congressional leader was caught this week being into Bigfoot porn, and it's got to stop. People in the chat, they're freaking out. You guys, is this bigger than we think? Cryptozoological erotica isn't the only erotica out there. That's what the Bees TV says.
Tyler Cove just asked us any tips for seducing a Sasquatch.
Wrong question.
Wrong question.
But we do have an answer.
We have an answer. Here's the thing. Yes, there's a way to seduce a Sasquatch. Should we read the Sasquatch? First of all, you have to I do encourage people to just search for Bigfoot erotica. There's a surprising amount of it, and I'm not putting you on. There are people who've written multi-page stories, not multi-page, like 20, 30 pages, like full short stories with long 2 pages of exposition and then 18 pages of sex about Sasquatch.
Makes me want to throw up. I would say you're going to need a ghillie suit. You're going to need about 1.5 gallons of deer urine, and just collect as much feces as you possibly can and smear it all over your body. You'll attract him, all right, but you're not going to be happy with the outcome. Alex, let's move on to another segment where we want to, folks, we're doing this for purely scientific purposes. You need this info as much as we do. We want to rank for you the 5 sexiest monsters. We're getting a call right now.
We're actually getting a call. Okay.
Hello, you're online with Dark of the Night.
Oh, hey, hi, hey, my name's Bobby Brukowski.
This is already bullshit. What do you want to talk about, Bobby?
I'm a huge fan of you two. Just big old fan.
Of YouTube?
I just want to know of you two and what you do in the paranormal world. Big fan. I just think this week's episode is completely off base. While I usually agree with you, I think this week you guys have it completely wrong. Monster Erotica has saved my life.
How was that? How is that possible?
I do want to call. Look, Bobby.
Oh.
Bobby. Our sort of chat sentinel concerned caller. Has called out that your name seems fake. Now, Bobby. I'm not gonna make that the main issue, but know that we are extremely. There's a very tense vibe on this call right now. We're very upset right now.
I will say, this is not my real name, but I have to say that it's a name I use when I'm trying to protect myself.
Well, that's fair, Bobby.
So I'm sorry to concerned caller.
Listen.
Look, okay.
We're dealing with paranormal now.
Okay, so you're saying, Bobby, real name or not, that that Bigfoot erotica saved your life.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit? Did it allow you to repair a relationship with your wife? Did it allow you to release sexual frustration that would have caused you to do someone else harm? What's the story here?
Well, it did both those things, but it also just helped me. Like when I was younger, I was 17 years old, and I was so afraid.
7?
I've been 17 years old.
Okay, keep going, Bobby.
I was so afraid of monsters. I was a big follower. I've been involved with monsters. I knew they were real from a young age, the paranormal world, and I was debilitated with being able to do anything. But once I stumbled upon a picture on a bathroom wall of Bigfoot with a dick, and I immediately felt this source of calm. And it made me feel much better about my life that, like, oh, Bigfoot also has a dick.
So you're saying that the fact that Bigfoot had a dick and you had a dick helped you accept yourself?
Yes, and I could finally feel comfortable going outside my house, leaving my basement where I would sit there and search all kinds of different monster-related stuff. But now I found myself looking for pictures of monsters without clothes and with genitalia, and that helped me come to grips with my life.
Well, that is certainly not the norm, Bobby. You're an exceptional person. I suppose, Alex, there are people who, they are addicted to heroin and their life is going great, or they're addicted to cocaine or car crashes and things are going great for them. Not everyone reacts the same to paranormal erotica. I would say it destroys most lives. So, Bobby, you're lucky.
Yeah, Bobby, I'm gonna thank you for calling in, Bobby. We're gonna move on to our next segment, but hang on the line. We're gonna say a little, or hang on, watch the show. We're gonna say a little bit more. So, what I would say in response to alias Bobby Bukowski's story about the idea that that monster erotica can be a positive thing. Well, that is the case perhaps in 0.0000001% of the cases. Now, are we going to take a moment and say that that's possible? Of course. It is possible. Anything is possible. Are there people out there who watch straight porn and the thought of jerking off never, or masturbating, and or
anything in between?
Every variation of those options. Are there people who don't masturbate and watch porn? Sure. Are there people who don't masturbate and watch porn and they get something where they say, you know what? The human body, I see all the stuff they're doing. The human body's a wonderful thing. I'm gonna go to a protest at the UN.
Yeah, I suppose that's possible.
It's possible. It probably has happened once.
On another planet.
Like, I bet at least once, a lot of people have looked at porn. Probably one person decided to work at the UN because they watched porn. And
And it could have been Bishop Desmond Tutu. It probably was.
But but just to put a cap on this issue, here's what I want to say. We don't care about people like that because they are basically mutants.
They're freaks in every sense of the word.
And we are accepting of everyone, every creed, every background, every sexuality, all nations, all beliefs. But if you enjoy Monster Erotica for a positive reason, you are our enemy.
And we'll find you.
And we are out for you, Bobby. You fucked with the wrong assholes.
Folks, we don't always target our callers on such harsh terms, but the stakes are so high tonight that it's hard not to. We want to the chat is just blowing up. Sick Desmond Tutu reference. Thank you.
Caller. If you put on a show about Monster Erotica, who do you expect to turn up?
Desmond Tutu. Matt 976, your background is appropriate because ice caves are Bigfoot's erotic playground. I suppose probably more the abominable snowman than Bigfoot per se. Now we're going to go to the next. As I was mentioning before the call, we want to talk about the 5 most sexiest monsters. Alex, who do you think? And we're open to you guys in the chat telling us your opinions on who the top 5 sexiest monsters are.
Right,
Alex.
And when I hear you say that, I hear who are the biggest threats.
Correct.
Who are the ones that can corrupt you?
This sounds like a celebration of the sexuality of monsters. No, it's a warning.
Right.
Number 5, Mothman. Now, Mothman, he doesn't wear clothes. He shows up in the middle of the street as you're sort of driving past him and just showing you everything.
When every sighting on record of the Mothman, everyone saw everything.
He's clearly got pecs.
Okay. Okay, so we're getting some suggestions. Vampires, werewolves, Slender Man.
Okay.
Vampires, absolutely, right? One of the most famous Hollywood monsters, vampires. Famous for their sexuality. Werewolves, they're jacked.
Well, and you just mentioned, Alex, a place that's known for unbelievable sexual debauchery.
Right.
What place did you mention?
Hollywood.
Can you guys? Can you imagine what they're doing in Hollywood right now?
Oh my God! They have all that money. Everyone's basically. If you are famous in Hollywood, you're basically surrounded by a crowd of people who are cheering all the time. So they're like, at some point you must be like, hey, do you guys want me to do all, do you want me all over all of you? And they just keep cheering.
Yeah.
And so, okay, that's day 1, right?
Right.
Day 2. How many days can you do that before you say, you know what, get Chewbacca in here?
Yeah. Let's see how he goes downtown. Let me tell you, folks, if they're grabbing Terry Crews' penis and he can't do anything about it, you better believe they're grabbing Chupacabra's butt hole. So the next monster, number 4. The 4th sexiest.
And I like your numbering system because we went from 1 to 4.
Succubus. Succubus? No.
What is happening? Are we going from 1 to 5 or 5 to 1?
What I wanted to say was Actually,
all right.
this is a banshee.
Okay, banshee.
You know it.
Number 2, banshee.
Banshee.
Okay, banshee. The Irish are beautiful people.
That's right. Great bone structure.
Right. I was in Ireland recently.
You remember you said that.
Right. I got a job. Do you know Enya?
Yes.
Enya, most of her extended family is Irish. This is a true story. Most of her extended family is Irish. I don't know if Enya is Irish, but most of her family lives in Ireland. Her cousin is a composer and is a famous composer in Ireland. And they were building a new house, and I was able to go and get 2 weeks of solid work working on that house. And so I went to Ireland.
That's cool. And yeah, I love the music. Did you see any of the Solid Gold records?
No, it wasn't Enya. Enya wasn't there.
Oh. Look, the banshee is a screamer.
Right. What we have not the Bees TV. Okay, so we have. All right, let's get back on topic here.
Sure.
Right. So we mean monster in the broadest sense, right?
Correct. We don't necessarily mean a physical being. These are spirits. We're lumping everything in.
Monster is a description of like that guy's a monster. Like monster is a negative term. So I would call a monster I think is hot, the Terminator. Right?
Monsters Inc.
So the Banshee is Irish, great-looking people, right? But a destroyer, an absolute. You better put your ears under a pillow.
A world destroyer. Ear-splitting scream. Don't go near it, folks. It's like somebody told me way back when I was a kid. If it smells like fish, it's quite a dish. If it smells like cologne, leave it alone.
Tyler Cove says, would you include extraterrestrials? Is ET a monster? Again, it is. I think I wouldn't call all paranormal beings monsters. Would you, Eric? What's your take on that?
I would call them entities
right.
Before monsters, but all monsters like 2 or 3 on that list.
Monsters are in the category of malicious paranormal beings. Is ET a monster? Good question. Well, is the real ET bad? If so, yeah, he's a monster.
Number 3 on sexiest monsters. Pan.
And that's kind of a nice. Is that from DeviantArt? It's kind of like a nice sort of a.
It is. It looks like it's been created in ZBrush or Mudbox. Very, very attractive creature.
Again, depicted in Hollywood, Pan was actually a very ugly being, but a beautiful sort of classic Greek depiction of a monster. Luckily, not a monster that people encounter much anymore.
No, or he sort of fell out of favor around the time of Shakespeare. The sightings started to diminish. I want you to see this picture, Alex. Can you make that out? It's sort of a leaf woman sort of riding him, and I don't like that at all.
I actually can't see that picture.
Yeah.
It's so complicated looking. Just for you Nightcrawlers to understand when we look at these pictures, they're about 15 feet away from us on a monitor, and I literally cannot see what I'm seeing. And you know what? That's makes
good.
It scarier. It makes it scarier because what I'm experiencing right now is the theater of the mind.
Number 4, succubus. Now, you can look at those pictures. That guy's ripped. that chick is wearing, she's basically wearing lingerie.
So succubus, Eric, you're more of the succubus sort of expert, can be either male or female, right? Correct? The demon can be of either gender.
Yeah, you can wake up and you can find yourself having sort of relations with a male or female succubus. And that's part of how confusing it all is. That's part of what makes these creatures so deadly, is they'll tap into that part of your brain. It's just kind of like, why not? Like, well, you only live once. And then they'll kill you. Number 5. Are you ready for this, Alex?
Concerned caller, again, watching the sort of the logic of the list. Thank you. We're not going to answer that question, but we are going to say thank you for asking it. What's number 5, Eric?
Number 5. Swamp Thing. Now, these creatures are sexual apex predators. They're living in the swamp. If you're a woman, you're in Louisiana, you're in Alabama, you're in Florida. You're stuck. Your car breaks down. You run off and you sleep in the woods. You're gonna find yourself pregnant when you wake up. Hands down. Do you know how sensual plant life is? It eats you for breakfast.
And I want to jump in as the opposite of a devil's advocate on this, which means that I just agree. There are devil's advocates out there. If we could put a 6th monster on the list, I'd just say the devil's advocate. Keanu Reeves.
Right. And Al Pacino.
Right. Because, and I know this is off topic from Swamp Thing, can a human being be a monster? It's not. I would say a human being is the most boring kind of monster, because it's like it doesn't have horns, it can't run fast or go through walls. But yeah, sure, a human being can be a monster.
From the perspective of a chicken or a cow, and that human is coming to get you, to eat you, we are monsters. But of course, I mean, that's not true in an absolute sense. Otherwise, there's no reason for us to do this show. I mean, the reason why we work so hard is because we believe that monsters are unlike us. They're different from us, and therefore they deserve to be destroyed.
Monsters deserve to be destroyed, but not in a sort of a violent way. Just in a way in which they just cease to exist immediately, like a nuclear blast, or if somehow, we could create like a black hole, and they would all kind of fly past us. We would be holding onto like a guardrail, and then all the monsters could just fly by us.
That's right. Back to kind of what we were telling that earlier caller about, if you're older than age 60, you're automatically a priest. If you can have some sort of older person, priest, whatever, read from an ancient book, typically that opens up some sort of portal to another dimension. It will suck all of the monsters that are attacking you or trying to take advantage of you sexually into the portal, banishing them to another dimension for time immemorial. And so that's how you handle that sort of a situation. But of course, we do believe that in the final war, where we will be called upon to sort of take violent action against all monsters in a more formal way.
Yeah, with swords, katanas, flamethrowers, chainsaws,
bolos.
We'd be wearing. That would be the official uniform.
Well,
I want to read a little bit more. We're getting close to the end of the show here. I want to read a little bit more monster erotica.
I think that's a great idea, Alex. Take us back. For people who just tuned in, can you recap what you're about to read?
Right. Well, so the first story I read was about Gimli, the dwarf from Lord of the Rings, and Galadriel, She was an elf.
Right.
And they kind of, the story ended up just kind of ended up being a lot of flirting.
Right.
Honestly.
Well,
but this one is way more than flirting. So I want to dig right in.
Let's do it.
So this is about Sasquatch. It's called Night of the Sasquatch. It's from Erotica.com.
Okay.
Okay.
Tell me more.
About 150 meters away at a natural clearing. The main character's name is Kate, by the way. I'm sort of skipping in the middle here. About 150 meters away at a natural clearing in the foliage stood an enormous man-like creature, easily 7 feet tall, a shaggy silhouette against the orange sky. Kate reached for a phone, only to remember that she'd left it in her pants pocket.
And you know what else is in there.
Before she could even consider whether to go in for it, I guess into the cottage where her pants are, what is she wearing now? The creature loped back off into the woods. As it walked, she noticed something the keychains and posters and action figures had left out. Something you couldn't see in that iconic silhouette from the Patterson-Gimlin film. Wow, Kate said. Bigfoot is hung like a champ. Kate felt strangely uncomfortable even acknowledging that she'd seen his enormous dick. See, this is such... It's like all erotica... like that's written like this is like gross, but it's gross and infuriating when it's Bigfoot involved. I just want to skip a little further down. I'm really sorry I have to read this to you, but I have to show you what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Skip down a little bit. I have to earn this creature's trust if I'm going to study him, she mumbled to herself. He laid a massive hand on her shoulder, touching her hair. His hand was surprisingly soft, like old leather. Okay, skipping ahead more.
That does make sense, though.
Skip down. Kate smiled. You understand consent, don't you, big guy? Okay, skip down. Fuck, she moaned, feeling his entire staggering length and girth before he quickly slid right. We're done now.
Yeah.
We're done now. We're fucking done now.
But you have to sift through that garbage to be able to see not only what is the worst kind of detestable debauchery people can be involved in, but what our congressional leadership is doing.
What? Switch to my angle. What are we doing? What are we doing now? What has happened to this country? What's happened to this beautiful land that we moved in on, and we went nuts in here, and it was great.
Wake up.
We went nuts. We were here. The Americans moved in to America, and we had a great time.
Moved in.
And now it's ruined.
Ruined.
Cut to the two-shot.
Folks, I'm telling you, there's going to come a day when we're going to have to fight for our right to not be subjected to smut like this.
I'm beyond... My computer just died.
Here, I'm going to juice you up.
No, you know what? I think we're. Are we going to take another?
I
think we need to. I think we need to sort of give our final thoughts here. Nightcrawlers, do you have any more thoughts on this issue? I mean, I have to say, I didn't learn. I sort of thought there was going to be a moment tonight when I, was like, maybe this isn't as bad as I thought. But I completely stayed static in my beliefs. I'm just more pissed because it's an hour later.
Well, it's not all about us, and I feel the exact same way you do. But it's about the Nightcrawlers. It's about you folks, you at home, watching. And that's why we like to take the time to highlight our Nightcrawlers. So we're going to do, real quick, the Nightcrawler watch.
Right. This is a positive way to end the night. So, one of our Nightcrawlers, Watney.
Yes, Dr. Watney.
She is a cat, and as you can see from the picture, there's something wrong with it.
This cat is doing something that doesn't seem natural. As you can see, the cat is reclined. The cat is exposing itself in a way that doesn't seem ordinary.
So I'm going to use the sort of our space here to sort of point out what I think's going on here, Eric.
Yeah.
So if you, my hand's getting cut off there. If you, so clearly, so you can see the under, thank you. I forgot my mic. You can see the underbelly of the animal. And on the surface, from a purely from a fur perspective, it looks like a normal cat.
Right.
The problem is we're not seeing this cat. This picture wasn't taken from underneath the cat, right? The cat is laying on the ground, and we're looking down at the cat. So, what would you do if you walked into a room and you're looking down like this, and a cat's laying like that? Is it natural?
I think the first thought you think to yourself is, am I upside down? How am I looking at the cat's underside when it's sort of... And I know people... The obvious answer is going to be, well, the cat is laying on its back. But open your minds, people. This is not typical behavior for a cat. When you flash a photo at a cat and that flash goes off, most animals that aren't possessed by some sort of spirit, they scurry away, but this cat is just soaking in that ultraviolet radiation.
I don't have an explanation for what this is. I'll be honest. I don't like saying that. I don't like saying that kind of thing when it happens. But whatever this is in this picture,
here's another one.
Okay.
The shadows. You can sort of see the nose and the chin of a person on that left-hand side. The cat is clearly possessed by some sort of entity. This is not normal.
That's an interesting analysis, Eric. You can definitely see that it has a human shadow. Here's a question, because I'm not nearly as clear on my interpretation of this picture. I wonder, to the human eye, right? What seems natural is that the cat's on the ground. That's what you'd think, right?
That's what you'd think.
I wonder if it's actually on the wall. You know what I mean? Because if it's on the wall, then now I'm starting to understand why it's possessed. Because it's just sort of like, it's like time for me to lay down, and then you're just in the middle of the wall 4 or 5 feet off the ground.
Well, I think that, Dr. Watney, if you're watching, there's only one way to solve this problem. And just to give a little context, Dr. Watney was saying that she was waking up, hearing the cat in a different room, but the cat was actually sort of in her room, or vice versa. And
what's happening, Eric?
I ate some peanuts earlier.
I thought something.
Thinking about that cat is making me want to throw up. What I was saying is, cut the cat open, pull out what's on the inside, and throw it in the garbage. I'm seriously gonna puke.
This has been Nightcrawler Watch.
Folks, we got one last segment to share with you. And as you well know, it's the dark truth.
I'm not going to say that this has been a happy episode, but I will say that we talked a lot about monsters having sex and reading about it, and the fact that it's dangerous. I'm going to go home tonight, and I'm going to throw out all of my food. Why? Because we need to be ready. We need a new, fresh start. I don't know where to start, so I'm going to throw out a bunch of my stuff, and I'm just going to hit the reset button. I spent $400 on an air conditioner, a standing unit. It doesn't work as well as a window unit. I'm going to throw that out. Why? Because I'm ready for my life. I'm ready to give everything up. Like in Fight Club, where they drove into the wrong lane, and he said, now you're free because you don't have a car anymore. I'm ready to throw out all my shit, and my battle that I'm going to wage is so that people don't read about Bigfoot kind of screwing around, just fooling around with people. And I will die happy if all those stories are deleted off the internet. Papa John has been in some really hot water lately. He said some things he shouldn't have said. But you gotta ask yourself, would you rather have that guy in the White House or in the Congress than some guy who's watching Bigfoot do all who knows what? Now, I'm into pizza. I like eating a pizza. I like a hot pizza and I don't like them to cut the pizza. I like to just, I like it uncut, and then I roll it up like a tube, and then I just eat it lengthwise as I'm jogging around my neighborhood. And that's why I feel comfortable sort of continuing to go back to Papa John's even after all the controversy. But the point is if this Bigfoot erotica thing doesn't stop, I'm gonna have to create my own pizza company. I'm gonna have to say a few things that maybe I shouldn't be talking about. And I'm gonna have to just do whatever it takes to make sure that Washington, we drain the swamp. It's time to drain the swamp. And I don't mean politically. I mean, it's time to delete everything on the internet, and then we're gonna start all the good stuff about the internet. We'll just change it over to brick and mortar. There's a lot Snorg Tees, that'll be a store. Amazon, that'll be we'll just empty out Walmart, kind of get a new logo, get an Amazon logo on Walmart. Look, the point is if we need to limit knowledge and exchange of communication so that people aren't reading about imps and Gimli, do I need to finish this sentence of what an imp would do to Gimli if he had the chance? Or what I would do to Gimli if I had the chance? It would be nuts. It would be the best night of my life. If I was alone with Gimli, I would have the greatest night of my life. And I don't want that. That's the last thing I want, is to realize what I've done the next day. I would gladly say no more internet, no more smartphones to avoid that situation. And I want you all to go home tonight, even if you're home already. I want you to walk out of the house and then go back into your house and just think for a half hour. That's your homework. Thanks for watching the show. Folks, there's no such thing as the Silmarillion. That was made up. It was made up because somebody was going to make a porno out of it. And it's supposedly about like the gods that are and the higher beings in Middle Earth, but I can't find anybody who's ever read it. And even when I look at the Amazon reviews, no one there seems to have actually read that. And so it's not, I don't know that it truly exists, and I don't want to know.
Folks, we're thankful that you tuned in tonight.
I'd like to say we had fun. We didn't. We had. It's been real. That's what I want to say. It's been real.
Some episodes, some topics are so close to the bone that you can't help but treat it with the seriousness that it deserves.
Yep. We'll be back at our normal time next week. Thanks for watching. This has been Dark the Night, and remember, say